Waste video series. Last week we talked about what can be recycled, and this week our big question is, how does it get recycled? As you know from our last video, recycling looks different from community to community because markets and facilities are different from place to place. So I live in Boulder, Colorado, and my recycling center here may work differently from your recycling center if you live in a different place. We also may have different markets or buyers for the materials than your local recycling center. Because of all those variables, there is no one way that materials get recycled, but there are some common processes to recycling that we see at most recycling facilities that process single-stream recycling. In a single-stream recycling program, all recyclables, paper, plastic, glass, steel, cartons, aluminum, are placed in the same bin, all mixed together and sent to a materials recovery facility. At the recycling facility, materials are sorted by type and then compressed to make bales of separated office paper, corrugated cardboard, aluminum, number 1 plastic, number 2 plastic, steel, etc. These bales are then shipped to markets. To sort out all these materials, we need machinery and we need hands. At most recycling facilities, the sorting system consists of a combination of automated equipment and people. That's right, real people are sorting your recyclables. So think twice about throwing your diaper in there. It's going to run right under the nose of a person who will have to grab it and put it where it belongs, the trash. Some examples of automated machinery found in recycling facilities include conveyor belts, screens, magnets, robots, and lasers. The hand sorters are all standing at different points along the conveyor belt at different stations in the recycling center. They wear reinforced gloves and other personal protection equipment, and they have to be very quick to identify and grab items off the conveyor belt. These people are either sorting for materials to throw in a bale or to get rid of contaminants, taking it off the line, and sometimes both at once. Sorting is not an easy job. No matter the recycling facility, they all share the same top contaminants that they absolutely do not want in the recycling stream. Some contaminants damage the equipment. Some of them endanger our human sorters, and all of them are materials that markets have no interest in buying. Some examples of contaminants for all recyclers are plastic bags, which wind around our equipment, jamming it. Biohazards and medical sharps, like animal or human waste and needles, pose a tremendous risk and should never be recycled. Nor should explosive or combustible products of any kind. Food and liquid have the potential to make our human sorters sick from mold and attract stinging insects and rats, so make sure you empty and rinse recyclable food containers. Scrap metal tears up our conveyor belts. We'll talk more about these and other kinds of contaminants that are mistakenly put in the recycling bins next week. The next general concept, common to most recycling facilities, has to do with shapes, and whether an item is a flat, two-dimensional object like paper, or a round, meaning a three-dimensional object, such as a plastic container. This is one of the principal concepts of most recycling facilities, if they handle single-stream recyclables. Remember, single-stream means that you put all your recyclables in one bin, and at the recycling facility, they have to sort out each material into their own bales. In other cases, residents sort out their own materials at home, so the recycling facilities don't have to separate flats from rounds. So in a single-stream system, automated equipment is designed to identify flat items, paper, and separate those from 3D items, containers. So we need to keep papers we want to recycle flat, and we need to keep containers we want to recycle fat, or three-dimensional. Otherwise, things like a flattened aluminum can may get sorted with papers because the automated sorting equipment will mistakenly identify that flat can as paper. But if we put a regular three-dimensional aluminum can in recycling, it would make its way over to the container side of the facility like it's supposed to. Let's talk about how some of the most common materials might go through a recycling center. Metal, like a steel can, will be snatched up by a magnet, pulling it off the line and separating it from the other materials. Aluminum, which isn't magnetic, can be sorted using an eddy current, which creates a current and sends it through the can so it has a momentary charge and can be drawn out from the remaining commingled materials. Things like cartons are usually taken out by hand or by a robot. And once papers are automatically separated from the containers, they're usually sorted into different grades by hand as well, though some facilities have optical sorters to do this task. Want to see all of this action at work? See this week's activities for an inside look at the operations inside one recycling facility, the Boulder County Recycling Center, operated by EcoCycle. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
My name is Chris Hinds, Denver City Council District 10, or as I like to say, Denver's Perfect 10.
I'm Randy Moorman, and I'm the Director of Community Campaigns at EcoCycle, and I'm really excited today to have Councilman Chris Hinds with me, because we're going to be talking about things that you may not be aware of are recyclable, but are. So Chris, you've got some items to share with us, so let's get started and see what you've got.
So what I have here is a milk jug. Can I recycle this?
You absolutely can. It's important when we're talking about like a milk jug, we want to make sure it's clean and empty. And that goes for all kinds of containers that are going to have liquids or foods in them. The two main reasons for that is, one, we don't want to contaminate the recycling stream of material, because this is material that companies are going to buy back to remanufacture into new products. The other thing that we want to make sure we do is make sure that we don't flatten it. We want it to maintain its shape.
I also learned that you're not supposed to put things in bags too.
Plastic bag actually gets caught in our machines. And so we have to shut down our machines 2 or 3 times a day just to cut off the plastic bags, and they damage our machines. So that's the big reason why we want to keep out plastic bags from our recycling. A lot of people get confused about what plastics are recyclable, and they're always asking us about the numbers on the containers. Don't look at the numbers. And just because it has a recycle symbol on it doesn't mean it's locally recyclable. So what the easy rule is on plastics that I want everyone to remember is bottles, tubs, jugs, and jars. I have an example of a bottle. Of course, we can think of soda bottles. And a lot of times people ask about the caps, make sure all the liquid is out or any types of food. And we want it to keep its shape, and actually screwing the cap on will help keep its shape. This is a example of a plastic jar. Again, the lid is screwed on well, so that is good. And then here's an example of a tub. Now this does not have a screw-on cap like all our other plastic items does. Most tubs have flat types of lids. These actually can be recycled as well, and they can be separated in your container. They don't have to go together. What else do you have for us?
Well, I've got some fiber. So a cereal box.
And that can be recycled. Now, the trick though is you need to pull out the plastic lining from the cereal box, because that can't be recycled. So we just want the cardboard. It would be great if you flattened that box before you put it in your recycle bin. And the same thing when you think about your cardboard boxes that you get, from Amazon or something like that. They take up a lot of space in your recycle bin, so please flatten those, and that helps a lot too.
District 10 includes Uptown, Capitol Hill, Golden Triangle, Cheeseman, and Congress Park, and most of the people living in District 10 and in all of those neighborhoods live in multi-unit buildings. So be kind to your neighbor as well. And when you're recycling, please flatten your boxes. What about this guy?
That's a great question. So that is a pasta bag, correct? And it's made out of plastic, and it really is a bag. And so it follows our rule of plastic bags. We just cannot take them in the single stream. I have a pasta box, and this would be recyclable. Again, I would flatten it.
What about the little cellophane?
Great question. When they send it into the mill to create the pulp again, they're able to actually filter this out in that process. It's just like the windows on your junk mail or your envelopes. You don't need to separate those either, because when it goes to the paper mill, they can actually separate that out.
Good to know.
So the last 2 things that I want to talk about are cartons. A lot of times folks may not think that these are recyclable, but they are. And this is actually a good story, because this is where the manufacturers got together and decided, how can we make our packaging recyclable? And so they actually designed their packaging so that it can be recyclable and be taken back and made into more cartons and other types of products. We think of milk cartons and juice cartons, but also these aseptic type cartons. This has chicken broth in it, like almond milk or soups. All of those are recyclable. So I think that's all we have today, right?
I don't have anything else.
Awesome. Well, this has been a lot of fun, and I really appreciate you being with us today to talk about things that are recyclable. Thank you again, and everybody out there, remember to recycle.
And thank you for recycling, and thank you for watching this program.